Hi, my name is Jane Scarf, and coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I have some good news and some bad news. First, the good news. It appears as though many businesses and other institutions are refusing to accept the vax passport mandates. And this is creating a big problem for the people that are orchestrating this whole thing. So the Ontario government is our immediate oppressor in this matter. So then the bad news. And the bad news is that the Ontario government has put forth Bill 12, which is mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations in the Education and Healthcare Sectors Act, 2021. So, of course, what they're looking for there is forcing the education system and the health facilities, hospitals, so on, to force the mask. Right now, they're being asked to voluntarily bring in a policy and do it up, but I guess there's so much resistance they have to try and step it up in terms of enforcement. So that is bad, but there's quite a process that it has to go through first, and there's quite a bit of awareness and concern about this issue. So my expectation is that people are not going to accept this. They're going to make their voice known, and they're going to put their foot down. Don't touch the children. Don't touch them. And as well, this is adversely going to affect seniors because they are vulnerable, and they're in long-term health care facilities, which this applies to. So you don't be touching our grandparents, and do not be touching our children. And not to mention our nurses and our doctors, hands off them too. They provide an important service. So I think as a beginning, what people can do is protest in the schools, and by doing, one way of doing that is to keep your kids home for a day. There's a group of parents that are currently organizing that, and the date for that will be released shortly. But keep it in the back of your mind, and when you see that date come up, do whatever you have to do to take that day off so that you can be with your children, or find another family member that'll look after the kids for the day. That will make a grand statement. And if enough parents keep their kids home, that's saying, don't touch my children, do not touch those children. And that's only the first step. That's expression. So every parent that keeps their kids home is going to be making that statement. And then there's other things we can do, because this is all unlawful, and it's law enforcement again. So we have protection under the Criminal Code and under the Canadian Bill of Rights, and then privacy law, privacy case law, protection for informed consent under the Bill of Rights, also case law that is long established that we have the right to informed consent. So we're not shorthanded when it comes to legal provisions, and we can also do we can seek a writ of mandamus, and what that would be is an injunction against the province by the court, because this mandate is illegal. There is no emergency. June 9th, the emergency orders were withdrawn. There's been no emergency in Ontario since June 9th, and I question whether there ever was one, but there's no official one since June 9th, 2021. And as well, there's been no evidence put forth that having a vaccination reduces the transmission of COVID-19. And they're admitting it doesn't even reduce your chances of catching it. So obviously, it's not going to reduce your the spread of it. And the best they're saying now is that if an individual gets a vax, they are not as much at risk of having the severe end stuff. But like you're at risk of severe disability and death on the one hand, and still getting the virus and maybe not getting it as great. Or on the other side, you're risking a flu-like symptoms for COVID with a 99.9, some people are saying now, is the survival rate. Or actually 99 point, yeah, I think it's 99.9 now. It was 99.7 and it's moved. And in some countries, India is claiming to have eradicated it entirely with ivermectin. And I know people that have done it. I knew one person that had a severe form of the COVID, and they used ivermectin and turned it around. So all in all, they don't have any cause to be saying people need to be forced to be vaccinated to make other people safe. Zero. And the privacy commissioners, federal, provincial, and territorial, have issued a report. You can get it on Google. I think privacy commissioners COVID-19 vaccination mandates, or no, vaccination passports. That's what the name of the document is. And in there, they say that the vaccination passports are a violation of your right to privacy. And they say there's no evidence been put forth that it stops the spread of COVID. And even if they did have that, they would also have to show that revealing everybody's personal medical information is going to make any difference to that. And thirdly, they have to have a statute that instructs that. And it's easier to stop a statute from coming down than it is from these rinky-dinky bylaws, because they just whack them through with the sitting government, which is compromised. The Ford government is obviously compromised. It's not acting in the interests of the people. So when they have to put it through every process, we do have some honorable MPPs rather in this case that you need, that will fight it, because this is their country too, and this is their children too, and this will be their opportunity to push back. The bylaws just kind of go around everything because they don't require approval from the legislature. But Bill 12 will. 3 times discussion and 3 times voting and public consultation. And you can bet your ass there's a lot of people that are willing to and will give public consultation. You don't have to actually go to the hearings meetings. You can send in briefs as well, your opinion on as to whether they should force your child to have a vaccination, or force your elderly parents to have a vaccination if they're in chronic care, or force you to have, well, they're not saying that, it's the doctors and nurses, so they're, that's also, it's in our community, and we should back them as well. So we should also complain that this is a serious violation of their rights as well. So I'll just see if there's a section that, what they want. Okay, every education sector organization and every healthcare sector organization shall require that each employee of the organization and each individual otherwise retained by the organization to provide services be fully vaccinated with COVID-19 vaccine, except as otherwise provided by subsection 2. I apologize. This is for only staff at this point. It's not for the children. But still, we need to back up the staff. We need to preserve the integrity and protect the safety of our educational institutions and our hospitals, and have the backs. They're having our backs. Like in the first responders, huge numbers of people that are refusing to take the vax and risking their employment, and that's for them, because their country and their kids, but it's for us too. So we need to show them that solidarity. That's why they're actually doing this, because they're not getting cooperation. They're not getting enough cooperation. And I just want to make one more point. In Quebec, they were right on this vax passport stuff. And everywhere you went, like if you're trying to take your kids to the rink, or if you're trying to go to your gym or anything like that, they were right on it. All of a sudden last week, I have a friend that lives in Quebec, and she's like, I don't know what's going on, but they're not asking anywhere. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, they were just all over you at the rink when she would take her kids, and other stores that she used. And so we looked it up, and we found that the nurses were pushing back, and they were coming right out and saying no. Like, they weren't even saying we're not revealing. They said no, we're not having this vax. And I forget the numbers. I don't want to make them up, but they had a large number of nurses take a stand, and then the government said, okay, well, we're going to move the date. Okay, they moved it ahead a month or something. But also at the same time, there was a result of a survey done on businesses, and they found that more businesses refused to do the vax passport than actually were willing to do it. So I'm sure that inspired other ones that didn't want to do it, and they felt intimidated into doing it, to back off, because right now it's as though there is no vax passport process over there. And we can do the same thing here. And this is going to give us a chance, like, to organize around supporting the healthcare staff and support the teachers. And then when it comes down to protecting our kids, they'll be there for us too. That's what solidarity is, and that's how we win this. That's it for today.